There's no point driving traffic to a listing that isn't going to sell. From title, bullet points, description, A+ content, and most importantly, above everything else, into your images.
It's so fundamental. I mean, so many times we have people come along and ask us how the advertising is performing, so on. Those are the result of the work that we actually do that drives that. And fundamentally, it starts with conversion.
The phrase I always say is, right, before we get into the episode, let's get a little bit personal. We found out that over 80% of you are swingers. We didn't believe it ourselves. I couldn't believe it. Zamir couldn't believe it. But yes, you're swingers. How do we know? Because you won't commit. You won't commit to us. Hit subscribe. It'll make our day, makes things even better, and we'll be one big happy family. Okay, team, we have talked a whole bunch of stuff. We talked about AI. We've talked about news, what things have been happening. But we haven't given you, we want to give you some raw content, some actual information that you can use on your selling journey, whatever it might be. So that's the point of this episode. We're going to give you some peek up the kilt, kind of look up and find out exactly what goes on behind the scenes and how we've achieved some of the results we have. We've helped 200 million pound a year businesses. We have helped mum and dad companies go from zero to hero, expand their sales, literally create whole businesses and like £1 million businesses. And so we want to kind of talk through how we've kind of done that. And a key one, a really important one, is optimizing your listings. That's kind of like the primary step.
It's so fundamental. I mean, so many times we have people come along and ask us how the advertising is performing, so on, how you get, like, their concentrations on that ACOS.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's only about visibility. Visibility only enhances the conversion rate you have underlying it. So
yeah,
that's
exactly
where we start.
Exactly. And so there's no point driving traffic to a listing that isn't going to sell. So let's kind of talk through that. And we want to just try and give you some key principles on how to do it. Online and various places, there will be information that we have shared previously on how to do this. So if you need more information or you want links to it or you want to join one of the webinars where we actually go through this in much deeper detail, please reach out or get in touch and we will happily share that information with you. But in the meantime, let's just give you some raw content.
All right. So when we're getting started, Daddy, fundamentally, where do you start when you're looking at a product and you're creating this listing?
Okay. So I think the first step in the whole journey has to be your customer. And it sounds cheesy. Everybody talks about it. Know your customer. But it is so fundamentally important. And you need to know really clearly, be able to go into their mind and find out what is driving them. Because in everyone's mind, when they're coming to purchase anything online, and you will be the same when you're doing this yourself, whatever you want to buy, you will have a subconscious checklist of things you need to tick off before you can add it to your basket.
And it sounds really obvious and it sounds really easy, but I think as people who have our own products, and when you create your own product, you have a perception of what you think is important to the customer, right?
Yeah. And you, like, for example, we worked with like a towel company or a bread a sheets company, and they're big on the thread count and all that, the details, that technical
GSM.
spec. But no one cares about that. It's nice, but people don't care about it.
What do they care about?
What they care about, and I always say this, is the benefit. So the analogy I always give is when you're going to buy an electric drill, you don't really care about the horsepower, the battery, all the different specs it has. That stuff is nice, but what you really care about is the hole in the wall. That's what you're trying to achieve. The benefit is what is going to drive your motivation to purchase everything else, and the feature adds to it. So the phrase I always say is features tell, benefits sell. If you remember that key principle, that's super important. And so that needs to be applied to everything in your listing, from title, bullet points, description, A+ content, and most importantly, above everything else, into your images.
Okay, great. So starting with, that's your intent.
Yeah.
What's the process?
Okay, so there's two. I'm gonna say three ways of doing this. The first is when I started over 10 years ago. The way I would do it, it's not very technical. It was literally, I would just sit there, close my eyes, and go into the mindset of someone who's buying my product. So I'd be thinking about what's driving them, what are the keywords they're going to be typing in to Amazon or whatever search engine there is to find my product. And I would make sure my listing had one, had all those key search terms in it, but also addressed those needs. And so the needs might be things like how it's going to make them look and be perceived, how the ease at which it does stuff. There's different things that it'll be, and it depends on the category, depends on the product, and it's hard to go into the specifics of all this stuff. But you just need to be thinking, what are the benefits? Are they trying to achieve from it? And they may not even be aware of it themselves, right? So it may be that they just want to look good and feel good, but they don't want to admit that. It might be, I want a cream that does whatever, like removes wrinkles. But ultimately, it's going to be about, I want to look good. And so you want to kind of make sure you really talk to that. So that's method number one. Method number one is close your eyes, pretend you're the customer, do that. Method number two is if you have a bit more firing power, if you're from a bigger company, you have more firing power, then get data, right? Let the data tell you what they want. Go to Nielsen or somewhere else. Or if you happen to be one of our clients, you get access to our AMP data, which tells you exactly what's driving customers and the customer needs. So you can get that through us if you're one of our clients. If you don't have access to data, then you can do the hack, because this didn't exist when I was starting out. AI. Jump on GPT, jump on ChatGPT, ask it to give you a persona analysis of people who buy your product, and get that breakdown, find out what's driving them, what are the subconscious needs that they have, and understand that, then pepper that through. So that's the way I would do that. That's the first bit.
Arguably, pretty much everyone that's selling on Amazon now should have at least some degree of data, right? Because you've got Product Opportunity Explorer, you've got Brand Analytics.
Yeah.
So, and there's plenty of third-party tools out there as well. You bring those into those platforms?
Yeah, you can. But I think there's a risk in overthinking it as well. Okay. So you should roughly know what drives your customer. And one other way of doing this, it sounds weird, is go to the store where your product is sold, in a physical store, hang out in the aisle, be that weirdo. I've done this. Hang out in the aisle and wait for someone to go and pick up a competitor product and ask them what made them decide that, other than price. Maybe give them £1 or $2 or a free sample of your product to get their opinion. I've been that weirdo. I've been the guy on the tube who walks up to random people and is like, hey, which design do you like the most? Tell me why. But that actually genuinely is a great way of doing it too.
A lot of what you've said there is very much when you're taking like a greenfield site, a brand new product that you're going to create a listing for. But often whenever we're dealing with and people who are selling, you actually got an existing listing and you've got some data. So in that case, what's your approach from that? So
from the data, then you want to look at, okay, so if they are already sized, then you are getting them to come to your listing. Then you want to know the drivers. What are the search terms that are going in to get to your listing, and which ones are converting? So if you, Amazon's actually really good at this. So they will tell you what are the most important search terms for your product. And then they break down in the funnel. They'll be like, this is the impressions. And then you can see what percentage of impressions you're getting. Then you can see the click through, and then you can see the adds to basket, and you see the purchase. So you can see all 4 key phases of the sales funnel. And where you are seeing a drop from click through to adds to basket, that means your landing page has a problem. Then that search term, you need to optimize for that search term, or you are coming up in a search term that's not relevant for your product. One of those two.
Whenever you want to, if you feel that you have that search term, you want to test it. So you're looking at the title first. And you're gonna have to make a choice there as well, because you can't have everything.
You can't have everything. So there's several things that you can do here. Number one, you do need to optimize the title, adjust it in there. Make sure the first thing to do characters really talk to the customer and have those key needs, so you win the click through. Bullet points. I'm just going to give you some of the key principles, guys. And the talks I give have way more detail, but I'm going to give you a whirlwind summary of this. So, bullet points. Put them in the order that the customer is going to want to see them. So if you're selling protein powder, your customer cares about the amount of protein per serving. So put that really clearly at the beginning, because no one reads all that stuff. Unless it's really technical, like a TV or something that's technical. But generally, people don't read that stuff. So you're putting that in there for people who are busy and they're just going to skim through. Put it in the order that's important to them. And then the features come in the bullet points. But the benefit is what's highlighted at the beginning. Thirdly, and this is the most important thing, if you're going to spend any time on anything, it's your images. Because Amazon is pretty much like Instagram or Tinder. People are just on and just swiping. They'll jump on, look at your title, look at the price, look at the reviews, and then they'll jump on and click through the products. I bet you people who are watching or listening, that's what they do when they go on Amazon. So they'll click on the listing and then start swiping through the pictures. And if your pictures don't sell, and if you're too particular about your images being all clean and minimalist, then you're gonna have a problem. When you're selling online and you're selling on Amazon, your pictures have to do the selling. So put copy on there. Talk about the benefits within each image, one benefit per image, and make sure you max out your opportunity there.
And that primary image, that first image, what are the key things you have to communicate through that?
So if you have special features or aspects to your product, consider, now Amazon may not like this so much, but it is important, consider digitally enhancing the image to make it so that on the search results page it's really, really clear what the customer's going to get and the key USPs that are likely to make them click. So you win the first battle on the search results page, get them to click, come through to your listing, and then boom. Hopefully you've done your homework and you've gone the mindset of the customer, you've emphasized the benefits over the features, and your listing images are clean, yet each image has a really clear benefit it's pushing. And if you're stuck and you can't get access to a designer, jump on AI, get a flow together, create an image, go to Canva, go to Photoshop, splice them all together, load it all up.
And in terms of once it gets to that product details page, anything you can tell about like creation of families and that relationship, parent-children?
Yeah, that's another good one as well. So consider putting, especially if you're starting out, consider putting your products into families because you get cross-selling happening. It does also aggregate all your reviews. So that works really better. Your ads work more efficiently and more cleanly. So, yeah.
Those thumbnails that you choose can be really important as well, the types of thumbnails that you have.
Yeah, and so there's like the family types where there's the drop-down menu. Try and avoid those ones. Use the ones with the thumbnail because everyone misses the drop-down menu. People see the thumbnails. But yeah, I appreciate this is kind of like me just kind of like mind dumping for people. But the reality is we wanted to kind of give you guys some useful, practical information you could use. So if you haven't been on our webinars or been on anything else, you can actually use this information today, hopefully right after this, because you'll listen to the whole thing, right?
Just one final point. We know that a lot of converting is done on mobile. And the A+ is now playing a massive part in that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So mobile first strategy, right? So you want to make sure your images and everything is mobile first. The enhanced content, the A+ content, that gets more prominence on mobile as well. So keep mobile in mind. Don't go landscape if you have to. Try aim for portrait or at least slightly more portrait than the landscape. And just to add a little bit of fun to the mix, Zamir and I have been chatting anyway, but Leon, do you have any thoughts to add to this?
I do. It was more so another podcast that people can go and refer to. So obviously, Al, you spoke very much about what you need to include in the images, in the copy and whatnot. If people want to go check out from our in-house design expert how you actually make that work in terms of a design, then they should go check out Upside episode 54.
54.
And see our man Will, our head of creative, talk to not only the elements that Al just mentioned, but how to actually make them look good as well.
Before we go, one last quick point. Promotions can play a key part as well, right? When it comes to conversions.
Yeah, exactly. And so if the goal is to improve conversions, win the search results page, so both coupons and vouchers, they all kind of like make you, they have more visible prominence. So you're more likely to win that click on the search results page. And then people come through, more inclined to buy and purchase and try your product. So make it easy for them. Make it easy for them to decide that your product's the right product that they're looking for. And then financially, why not give them a little discount if you can to get them to try and come through.
One of the things we often comes up and the questions we often get asked about is keyword stuffing and making sure that loads of keywords are in there. Yeah. What are your opinions on that?
Yeah, you don't. It's like the Pareto principle, right? So 80% of your sales can come from 20% of the keywords, and realistically, there won't be that many. Like if you're selling coconut oil, like I do, I mean, what are you searching for? You're searching for coconut oil with 1 or 2 words on either side. That's basically the thrust of it. So there's no point putting in, I don't know, some
creamy.
some ultra long scientific name for stuff just because that's the search term. It just doesn't work. Or it can work, but don't need it.
Great.
Cool, guys. Hope that's useful. We're going to do more episodes like this if they are. So let us know with a like or subs. That'd be cool too. All right. Peace out.
Peace out. One love.